Yes. Hey, George,
Hello.
you start up now giving sessions, 1 hour sessions.
Yeah, I now give what I call 1 power hour healing sessions. I made this kind of work because we usually do the 3 hour sessions, and the 3 hour session includes all the family constellation information from the parents and the grandparent side and the siblings. And this can usually be a lot of work for people. But now I make this 1 power hour session where you don't have to do it, where you just answer some very simple questions about yourself. You don't need to give me too much info about the family. And then we pretty much are set up to go. We delve right inside the session. And inside the session, what I do is very similar to the 3 hour session, but it's without the deep family work. This is more about you, specifically what you need, what blockages you have that can still be solved without the family constellation work. And when people look at these questions, I ask for things like what symbolizes safety for them, where they feel safe in their life, or where they feel free in their life, and a symbol for freedom. So then when I get into the session, I can work together with this resource to help a person connect through a felt sense to this kind of freedom or safety that they have. And then I use a variety of resources where we open up a person energetically by making them feel as safe and as comfortable as possible. Because I create the space for them and I make it very easy for them to just relax and allow me to guide them through their own body, where they can connect to everything that was not allowed to be lived, not allowed to be experienced in a way that is healing. Because all we do in this work, we activate the body's self-healing mechanisms so it can resolve what it didn't resolve before. Because that is what a trauma is. It's just an experience that happened before, but this experience got stuck in the body because we, in our fight or flight response, didn't choose either fighting or flying away. We chose freezing instead in these cases, where we didn't know what to do, we didn't know how to respond, the body didn't know how to respond, and so it automatically got into this freeze response, where it just got itself disconnected out of what is happening. So to heal is to reconnect, but in a way that is non-threatening, doesn't feel overwhelming, allows the body to re-experience what needs to be experienced. And that is kind of what I do in this 1 hour session. I focus primarily on that.
And I read today in a book from Peter Levine, which I thought was part of the theme in your work, where he mentions the primary role of a healer is not to counsel, cure, or fix their clients, but rather to support this innate drive for perseverance and triumph. But how do we facilitate the fulfillment of this instinct? How do you strengthen your client? How do you find their hero?
It's very simple, actually. But I guess it's not so simple, otherwise everyone would already be doing it. It is to connect to what the body actually wants to experience, what it wants to feel. Because the way that we were brought up, that got society into this mess, where people get traumatized and don't know how to deal with their feelings, is because they are taught to suppress and hold their feelings back. They are shown by society, by their peers, by work, and by school indoctrination that their feelings are not relevant, not only not relevant, but they are not wanted. All that is wanted from them is to function, to do their duty, and not say anything against it. Because if you express your feelings, if you express that you're uncomfortable with something, that you're feeling something that others may not like or agree with, then people would just make it very difficult for you to be successful. Like at school, you're not allowed to really give your own opinion of how you really feel about something, because otherwise you risk getting a bad mark, or you can't even refuse to do anything. You just have to function, whether you like it or not. And this basically is what got us into this mess, where we don't know what we do with our feelings. We don't know how to respond to them because everybody else tells us not to respond, actually. So what I help people do is how do you respond? How do you experience it again without feeling bad for it, without trying to suppress it, without trying to escape?
And isn't that what you described with the feelings, that is kind of mirrored in the body through sensations, the felt sense?
Yeah, the felt sense is what we base a lot on. Basically, when you think about something, let's say, for example, you think, you imagine yourself, you are at the ocean, at the beach, you are alone there. All you can see around you is the sand and the water. Then you can imagine how you hear the water crashing against the shore, the wind going through the leaves of the trees that are just close to you. And when you use something, an image, or a place where you imagine yourself to be, the body experiences it as if it is happening right now through sensations. So then you can feel something in the body while you look at something, while you interact with the environment. There are sensations that come up when you, for example, imagine how your feet touch the sand on the ground to the beach. You can feel something in the stomach in the form of a light, relaxed, warm kind of sensation, simply because that is how your body responds to this kind of stimuli.
Yes, because I ask, because feelings can be confusing, like emotions can be confusing. And the body is telling the truth through sensations or the felt sense, or like you just described, you feel something in the stomach, and a feeling can sometimes, like a thought or an emotion, can express something else. And when you work with the body, you always work with the truth of the moment, or what really is happening.
Yes, because for the body, there's no past or future. Everything is the present. Something that happened in the past is happening the entire time. Basically, when something happened in the past where you had, for example, a very traumatic accident where you really hurt yourself, but let's say your primary caregiver, like your mother, was around and she freaked out about it, and let's say she told you how not to be such a whining little child, how to basically tell you that even though you are really hurt and you are crying because it hurts so much, your parent tells you, no, you're not supposed to cry. And then you prevent yourself from crying and you stop yourself because you're afraid that if you don't behave in a way that the parent likes, then that you will not get the parent's love. And if you don't get the love, then it's like you die. It's like a life-threatening situation for a
Yeah,
child.
you freeze again. Yes.
Yes, then you freeze.
Yes.
So yeah.
And then Peter, later in this book, he writes about Joseph Campbell, who wrote the book The Hero with a Thousand Faces. And Joseph Campbell, he was a myth. He was the master of myths. I mean, I have a lot of his books, and this guy is very inspiring. Because the traumas that happens to us, the situations that are occurring in our life are just kind of a setup for, you may call it growth, or just to grow, to get into our power. So sometimes people have enormous traumas, and they can, when they really take the challenge, or when they really going to work with it, they become so strong and so powerful. Yes.
Yes.
And that's like the whole idea with how you become the hero in your own myth, how you can see that adversaries you got, the family you're born in, the birth you had, can be turned into the biggest gift. Situations, divorce, a brother dying, a father dying early, anything can be turned into something that is giving you a deep healing. Yes.
Yes.
And in the 1 hour session, as you have designed it now, all this can happen. Yes.
Yes, because what I do in this 1 hour session is I show a person through the felt sense, through a kind of meditation, guided meditation, what happens in the body by them tuning into the felt sense, what happens when you recognize what happened before, when you overcame a certain challenge. How did it feel? What was the moment of triumph that you had in the past? And what would it be like for you? Where would you be when this moment of triumph came again? For example, when something really, really challenging happens, it is not something that is a curse, that is supposed to make everything just hell in our life, but it is actually an invitation. What I like to show a person is that it is an invitation to allow them to grab this kind of opportunity to then get into another moment of triumph again. And once they are able to overcome a challenge and go through it, at that point they will have developed all the resources, all the power, all the capacity to succeed in ways that they could never do before, to live through experiences that they couldn't have before, because now they were allowed through the situation to develop new skills that would allow them in return to find out much more about themselves and what they can actually do here, how they can enjoy this life by overcoming.
Yes. And you prepare it very well, I know. And then people also through the session get resources. They get the connection to work with themselves. They get they get tools. Yes.
Yeah, they get tools like how to work with the inner child. The inner child being this, this part of us, or rather it is us, but the part of us that has no identification. It has only feelings, how it feels about certain things, and about it. It has its wants and it has its needs. What I try to show a person then through the session, how to connect to the child, to themselves basically, how to find out what it needs, what it wants, and how to give it without feeling overwhelmed and without compromising themselves. And also how to overcome fears that they have simply by connecting to the environment, by communicating with the body. Let's say you are in a situation that is very stressful. Let's say you got some call from a friend that somebody in your family is really upset about something that you did, and maybe you have done something that you feel a kind of regret about. And then what the body experiences is like some kind of tightness, some stressing, some really deep discomfort. And then I show a person how to get out of this discomfort. And one of the ways that you can get out of it, one of the ways that I teach in a session, is how to connect with the environment, how to connect with what is around you. And I can give you a very good example because I had one client before who got into a panic attack during a session. This was with you together. You remember who it was. And basically this person, this client, she felt so much overwhelmed when she got in touch with a certain grief that she had about somebody else in her life, that because her body was never really told, never comfortable in knowing how to deal with it, all that the body knew how to do is how to freeze and how to basically get stuck. And through this getting stuck, the mind and body felt completely overwhelmed. And it is this very overwhelm that is the cause of many, many panic attacks. And what I then did to calm down the panic attack, I told the person where she was. I asked her, look around you. Where are you in this room? Look on the bed that you are on, because she was in her bedroom. Her pillow was on her back. I asked her to feel the pillow, how soft it is, the softness of the covering over her legs, and to breathe in and breathe out and connect with the room that she is in, and to localize herself inside this room. And when we did that, she actually got out of the panic attack, because we told her before how to connect with a feeling sensation. She connected to the felt sense that she felt while she was just looking around her. And this kind of looking around, perception, focus, made the body feel where she is. Oh, I'm actually not in a life-threatening situation. I'm in my bedroom, I'm safe, I'm comfortable. I know this is true, this is fine. And when you know this is true and this is fine, the body has no choice but to reflect it. And what happened for her was she got out of a panic attack, and she said this was the first time ever that she got out of a panic attack after it started, just like that. So this is a very simple method in many situations where you feel a kind of overwhelm, that you can connect to the environment, connect to a place that feels safe, connect to something that reassures you that all is well. That is what I teach, how to communicate with the body intelligence, treat it as if it is its own consciousness, inside you, and it will act according to how you perceive and interact with the world.
Yes, and I know the reason why we call it a power hour is because there is so many levels, that there is so many layers worked with in one session. One has to have so much knowledge or way of what needs to be addressed, and because you have that knowledge,
it is very individual what I do.
Yes, but
like,
because of the knowledge, you also can make that impact. Yes, what normally I would say would take 10 sessions with a trauma therapist or a trauma healer, you do in one session, 1 hour. Yes.
Yes.
So it's very compact. It goes really deep, and it's very safe. Yes.
Yes. Because when you know what to do in a situation, and when you can connect the person to it, when the person can feel themselves, oh, this actually works, then you can save a lot of time.
Yes.
Because how often did you get into kind of psychotherapy session, let's say, with a common psychologist, and at the end you were like, oh yes, of course, it's so easy, I just have to do this and I feel so much better. Like how often does that happen? Not very often. But I'm not saying that it's going to be easy after a session, but you're going to get resources that work so reliably and so simply and intuitively that you will get the hang of it very quickly. Because what happens after a session is also what happens during a session. Once a session is complete and some releases happened, the body remembers very quickly and it begins to integrate what has happened. And then the person, what I offer, which is included with the 1PowerHour session kit, but after the session, I want to talk to the person, I want to get feedback, I want to know what happens in the body then. And then they can ask me again what we did during the session, and then I tell the person how to do it on their own in case they forget. So this way they get a lot of resources just within an hour, very quickly and very smoothly, you could say. So that way they can save a lot of time and a lot of pain just by taking the session.
Thank you. Is there something else you want to add?
Well, there's one thing, this session work, it is very individual. It is based on the intention that a person gives when she or he fills out the form, the question form. And then based on that intention and that need that the person has, the session will go very individually.
Yes.
Every session is very creatively and has a way of picking up on its own.
Mm-hmm. And as what I know, the person will get the answer they asked for. Yes.
Yes, because it is very specific. It is just made for them. I prepare to address what they have. So if people are now interested in doing 1 hour based session work, they now have this access through the website and the Facebook group. Now we will also link it when we upload the video on YouTube. We'll link it in the description where people can read more about it, where they can get more informed, and where they can get more comfortable if they are interested in kind of the sealing work. So before they commit, they can ask what exactly it is they get, and they can look for the information. And then if they want it, we can now do it.
Yes, from the way we look at it, trauma is behind everything. Yes.
Yes, trauma is the main cause because trauma controls in a way all the patterns of behavior and all the ways that we process emotions.
So people buy a wonderful gift, I would say, by giving themselves an hour with you.
Yeah, they get a little treat with me. At least I hope.
Yeah.
I like to give that to people. And I
Yes.
also always want to get their feedback because based on their feedback, then other people can see, oh, okay, a lot of people are reacting this way to it or that way. And then I also, when I get some feedback, I can improve upon it and we can keep growing this kind of work.
Yes, but I can also say we're pretty confident about how it works and why it works, and that you can deliver what is needed. Yes.
Yeah, based on the reviews that we had so far, pretty much everyone is loving this kind of trauma work.
Yes.
They're very happy with it because a lot of stuff happens in a short amount of time that they would normally not expect would happen or could happen.
Yeah, and I also wanted to say you feel very confident in taking on, say, anything possible. Yes.
Oh yes, we had some extreme cases and now it really doesn't matter. I mean, for me, it doesn't matter what my client has. I know that from how the body works and from my understanding of it, I know how to fix it. I know how to make it into a good opportunity to become stronger as a person, whatever the trauma is.
Yeah, awaken the hero or the
Yes.
heroine. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you pretty much inform the people what is happening in an hour and what can be done. So
Yes. For more information, they can look in the group and the website. But I hope this clears it up and gives a pretty good idea of what it is about.
yeah, oh yeah, we just came up. They can always contact you for a little interview. So if they have some questions or want to really get some
Yeah.
information needed.
They can
That's
do the 15-minute free interview with us.
yes.
Oh,
After filling in the question form.
yes.
Okay.
Okay. So thanks for watching.